Okay, so number 2 of the chain abstraction community call. Welcome, welcome. So what are these calls? We basically know, we just come here, discuss what's happening in the ecosystem related to chain abstraction, more specifically chain signatures, I guess. And we have a few presentations, and we try and make it more free-form discussion as well, discuss any pending issues or stuff we're unsure about. And we love everyone to participate. So if you have a question or a thought, just either speak up, raise your hand, or type in the chat if you're not comfortable with that. Okay, so we have some suggested topics of discussion. So we'll have an update from Pagoda first. Then we have a presentation from Super Omnichain Account Platform. That's a long one. Then Matt was going to share his chain signatures library and get some dev eyes on that, but he can't make it today, so I'll share that, I suppose. And we had 2 suggested topics. These topics actually came from myself, so I thought great topics of discussion would be asset storage standards for these derived foreign addresses and how we can keep track of these addresses, and verifying the state of other chains. But I suppose we'll get more into that when the time arrives. Okay, so David, do you want to start us off with the updates?
Sure, I'll hop right on. So the good news is the audit has started. We now have auditors working on that. They'll be doing that for a few weeks. We'll get the audit report back, and then we'll, depending on the magnitude of the issues, we'll take a couple of weeks to fix up the problems they find, and then we'll release mainnet chain signatures and release a report, obviously, as well. In the sort of, obviously during audit time, you have a bit of breathing room. So we're updating the API, making it easier to version. We're fixing some very silly paper cuts in the first version of it, like mixed endianness of hashes, which is one of those slightly embarrassing things that found itself in the API to start with. We're also integrating with yield resume, replacing the sort of busy loop. That means longer timeouts, so you're more likely to get your thing through, and more stability. And finally, we're forcing you to attach balances when you call chain signatures, because that forces people to use a full access key rather than issuing limited access keys to the chain signature contract, which we felt was a security issue. This deposit will also escalate in periods of high congestion to start with. Hopefully we'll be able to scale beyond that in the not too distant future. And that'll mean that if there's sort of a big queue, sort of 30 to 60 seconds, we will start making people pay more to join the queue, which will help us deal with congestion in a relatively easy way. So yeah, it's a sort of getting close to that release. Things are chugging along. You'll be able to see the new API in the V5 testnet contract. We don't recommend using that. It's sort of our bleeding edge one where we sort of test stuff out. And the V2 contract will get an update after we publish the new APIs and update the libraries and give everyone a chance to transition over and use the V5 one to make sure their libraries work. So yeah, any questions on that subject? Or
I wonder, was there a list created of the contracts and which like state of the multi-chain contract is, or the NPC contract is uploaded there?
So we have one multi-chain contract per network. So on mainnet, there'll only be one multi-chain contract.
Right.
And all the state there is ephemeral. So the only state that matters is we keep a list of outstanding calls. There's no state beyond that. Everything else is just derived from the user who calls. So there's we don't store sort of large numbers of keys or mappings or anything like that.
I think I meant more the so there's like the V5 and the V2, right?
Yeah.
But aren't these, they have like a different contract version uploaded to them, right?
Yes.
Okay. So is there like a list anywhere saying which version is uploaded?
We probably should get that list. So we're gonna, V2 is only going to be tagged versions on GitHub. So we're gonna sort of do 0.3 as our next version. So V2 will always be the most recent version, and V5 is always the head of the repo. So yeah.
Awesome. Any more questions to David about that? Okay. Oh, go ahead. Or was that a misclick? I can never tell with these hands up. Okay, I think it was a misclick. Okay, yeah, thanks. So should we move on? It's Marco presenting, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
do you have any slides you want to share?
Yes, let me share my screen now.
I'll take mine down.
Hello, can you show my screen now? Yeah, I guess it's okay. So let's get started. Hi guys, I'm Marco from Ref Labs. So I would like to have a brief introduction of our ongoing new product. So apparently it's just the abbreviation of the super Omnichain Account Platform. We are about to bring Web3 users this brand new on-chain wallet system with brand new user experience, which most probably will affect the way they access the whole Web3 world. So this super Omnichain account, that is SOA, you can think it as a decentralized version of your Web3 wallets, which is currently stays pure locally, like on your local machine, on your ledger, on your Trezor, or on your Web Explorer local storage, right? So this SOA is built on top of two powerful features of NEAR. One is this chain signature, and the other is the powerful smart contract. So what does this combination bring us? I think first, the widest support of chains, as long as the near chain abstraction supports its signature algorithm, the target chain is on board. So we don't demand any further features from that chain, like we don't care if they support smart contract. We don't care if they have any EVM like execution layer. That's the first point. The second one is we have a pure native account. This one, I think, weighs much more than you may think. We won't suffer from any account-based censorship on target chain. Meanwhile, maintain the ability those native accounts can have before, couldn't have before. I would like to just take one example, and you will get that point. Yeah, the minting inscriptions. Most of inscriptions will limiting from contract account, CA account on EVM chains, right? So, but SOA is actually a EOA on EVM chains, and still can have smart contract logic behind the minting. Yeah, that's the example. The third point is like chain level security. I want to elaborate this one here because we all know that it's MPC signature behind. The last point, but not the least one, is that the ability to decouple Web3 ID with specific accounts. We always have this strong feeling that account is not equal to Web3 ID. Yeah, does it make sense that a specific account on a specific chain should represent a Web3 user forever? From our perspective, account is only an access to Web3 world. It can be built, it can be chosen, it can be traded, even can be removed freely. And the Web3 ID is something that above accounts, beyond accounts, and in addition, can operate and manage accounts. So all these points make SOA super in terms of Omnichain accounts. Yeah, this one, tradability. So more than that, we have another exciting feature is this tradability. So first, SOA has value in nature, but this value beyond what kind of tokens it currently holds. It also includes airdrop qualifications, powers in governance, reputations in some depths, connections with others. For example, maybe some blast points, right? So the second one is we wrap this SOA into a kind of NFT format. So the reason why we choose NFT, more specific, is NEP 177. Why we choose this style? Because first, SOA has no official value. This is similar to NFT. The second one is, I think, is more interesting. Is like the approval that is NEP 178 is a good way for SOA to be listed and meanwhile be operated at the same time. So in the trading process, we must ensure a safety trading process because it faces some possible attack. It includes we can withhold the seller can withhold signed transactions without sending to the target chain. They can pre-sign some transaction with a high nonce in the EVM-like chains, and they can have some suspicious pre-approved transactions in EVM chains. So we will learn later how we address those risks. Yeah. This is the component you're all looking at. Now you are looking at this. This chart is the component relationship of the SOAP. From this chart, we can tell SOAP is not a closed system. It's open and extensible. It has many extension points. For example, we have account abstraction extension points. With account abstraction, we can have social recovery. We can have multi-sig. We can have Web2 login experience. And for example, this gas service, this extension, we can have our users to be focused more on their intentions without worrying about gases. And you can imagine this scenario. If user can pay gas at any chain they like, use any token they want, it turns out to be something like they may establish a specific gas account for their all Web3 activities. They can actually easily get to know and manage their gas consumption in Web3 world. For example, this account evaluation, it could help users to know the value of the SOA, to know what it holds, know its past, know its connections. There are many data analysis products can play this role, like something like XBig and etc. Even the DEX is an extension point. It can introduce more trading patterns. Now we can have ways like listing and waiting for buyers. We can have like auctions. But innovations on these trading ways will always be exciting news for the whole system. The following I will emphasize two flows. The first flow is like how we operate SOA. In this flow, we can see there are many steps, one by one. The first step shows the wallet is the user interface to access SOA. And actually, there would be some SDK to support wallet building by communities. So it also can be taken as an extension point. We would be happy to see multiple wallets to suit for multiple platforms, such as maybe web page version, TG version, mobile version, or some web plugins. The step 2 shows us the wallet is also a near wallet, so its nature to access any account abstraction contract, smart contract. In this case, in this chart, let's say represent Alice or Nia is a smart contract for account abstraction. In step 3, this account abstraction smart contract represents Alice or Nia to start access SOM through cross-contract call in this step 3. And this you can come back to this step 4. Yeah, it shows a normal way to just to directly using the wallet to access SOM to manage and operate SOM, including create SOM, operate SOM, or list SOM on some DEX. This step 5 shows another extension point. Before actually signing the target chain transaction, user can request a gas service first. Yeah, through this gas service in step 6, the wallet could wait for the result of the gas service. And as long as the gas service is completed, the wallet could then start the next stop. But the next step could include this step 7. It shows user could apply for near gas service through meta transaction. So with these 2 different gas service, a user could totally have no gas to involve in Web3 activities. Yeah. So again, yeah, in this step 8 shows how a meta transaction relay wrap the user transaction on near into a meta transaction and access with our SOM. Yeah. And now following this step 9. Step 9 is a core step that shows our smart contract SOM to call near chain signature service, which is actually an official smart contract. In the current version is V2, we call on the testnet. Need to mention here is there is an important revision ID in each SOM. This revision ID will increase by 1 for each signature request, and they will be used in the trading process to ensure security. Yeah. The following is step 10 and step 11. The step 10 shows there would be an off-chain indexer, listens to all signed requests in the SOM and records those core ingredients such as the SOL ID, the SOL owner, the payload, the revision ID, the signature. They will be used to secure the SOL trading. Yeah. And this step 11, this SOL relayer listens to all signed transactions and send them to the target chain in step 12. But it's not a mandatory step because the SOL wallet could do that job on its own, especially in some time-sensible cases such as the arbitrage activity on some DeFi product, as shown in this step 13. So this is the whole operation flow. With this flow, a user could easily through the SOL using their SOL account to operate in the target chain. The second flow is the secure trading flow. In this flow, we show how we can trade SOL in a secure way. The first step is like the seller figures out a price on his SOL. So this process is most likely with the help of some account evaluation service. And in step 2, the seller asks SOM to list his SOL on some DEX. And in the following step 3, the SOM leveraged NEP 178 to approve the DEX to list the SOL. I need to mention here is that the seller can still operate this SOL during the whole process. Yeah, because thanks to this approval management standards, the SOL is not actually transferred, not actually transferred to the DEX. It's still under the owner of the original seller. In step 4, once some buyer, we see let's say, determines to buy this SOA. Again, it's most likely with the help of some account evaluation service to help the buyer to think this is worth to buy now. And then he will do the following steps. In the step 5, the buyer will to see if there is any risks. Yeah. So they will query the indexer to see the signed transaction history, if there is any suspicious signed transaction in this SOA in the history. And in step 6, the buyer starts the actual buy process from DEX. With this DEX, with this process, the DEX calls NFT transfer with the revision ID attached in the memo field. That's the key. So this revision ID represents the exact SOA state in this trading. So if this SOA as the NFT token contract detects a mismatch of revision ID in transfer request and in the current revision ID in SOA, the transfer will panic and the whole trading process will be canceled. Above these, the core points of this SOA platform. As a summary, please allow me to take a couple more minutes to have a quick walkthrough on our demo. This demo can be accessed in this web link and can also be accessed from a Telegram. This application demo to show the ability of operating and trading SOA. Here, yeah. So first, let me switch account to a brand new near account. In this account, we have no any SOA. So now we can have a new one to click this. We can have a name of this SOA wallet. It's on the testnet. Okay, so now we have this ETH wallet with this address, but we have nothing. So now we can do is to buy something from the market. Yeah, to buy such as we buy from Jimmy. Here is a listed SOA. If we click buy, we will actually get this account. In this way, we can without create a real one. Sorry, let me see.
Sorry, Marco. I think I might have bought Jimmy before you did.
Oh, really? Let me. Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely got it now. Sorry about that.
Wow.
I'm running you on your demo.
It's okay. It's okay. I can just switch to, let me see. Just a quick demo. We have this empty account, right? So let me transfer something using our SOA platform. So just now I copied this address, and then let me switch to some existing account, this Pink Villa. I use this Pink Villa for test. So now we can see we have this much ETH token in this Pink Villa macro demo wallet. So now we can send someone to like 0.0 how much? 2. And okay. This is called will invoke the whole chain signature process through the SOA smart contract. Yes, now we can see this contract via this ETH Explorer. And actually, we can see the balance now when we switching account to this one. Now we have 0.02. And still we can send some token from the original. Send some token. Let's see, Pink Villa. We have some token for testing. Let's send 300 token to that account. I guess it's only it's still this one. So let's see. We send 300. ERC20. This is ERC20 token. It shows how we can, operate this. So yes, we will see two transactions. One is ETH transaction, one is near transaction. With ETH transaction, we will see the ERC20 transfer. And meanwhile, the wallet will listen to all the changes. So for a few seconds, there will be a modification, a change in this balance. Yeah, I hope it's in seconds. Okay, now, yeah, you can see 0. And when we switch into the new account, yeah, we have a 300 balance. And then now we can sell it with the price 10-year. Okay. Okay, where is my seller? Sorry. XYZ here. Need to mention that in this market view, to display an account with different aspects, like this is like tokens. This is like this point shows with the help of the account evaluation, we can show more aspects of this account, like their blast points, something like that. Maybe I take too much time, so let's go back to let's end here for our demo. Welcome to use our demo, and we will constantly upgrade our demo. And by the way, the name SOAP may vary later, maybe to some more exciting ones after. And after my introduction, I believe you all get the basic point of this thing. And if you got any suggestions on the names or any aspects of this thing, please ping me on the Telegram. This is my Telegram handle. Thank you all for this.
Thanks. Are you open for any chain, Siggy? You say that too much, Mike. Are you open to any questions? I know I have some. Maybe everyone else does. Because I'm curious, when you're transferring the accounts, you say like NFTs. Are you actually using the NFT standards on NIM?
Yes, NFT standards. We only have one extension on the NFT standards. That is, in this step 7, this NFT transfer is actually invoked by a DEX. That is by an approval party. In this way, if we detect a transfer is from an approval party, we request a revision ID in the memo field. That's the only extension to the NFT standards to make sure the security.
So could you link one of these, sell like one of these accounts on Mintbase or Paris or something?
Yes, it can only link the new generated account. As we all know, the chain signature we cannot link an existing EVM account to this one, because the whole SOA is based on the chain signature technology. It must be some a key pair from MPC signature.
Yeah. Any other questions for Marco from anyone?
But I can, sorry, maybe I misunderstanding your question. Do you mean that, let's see, Do you mean that with this Alistonia, it could be a mint-based account, right?
I mean more so you're swapping these derived accounts that you're selling on this DEX, right? What I'm saying is, because it's using NFT standards, could you decide to sell these accounts not on the DEX and use, say, like Mint-Base as a DEX or Paras as a DEX?
Sure, because the DEX is also an extension point to the whole system. So we do hope that we can fit this into the regular DEX, but there's only one requirement that we need the DEX to attach the revision ID in the NFT transfer. But if the DEX failed to attach this thing, it also couldn't cause any loss. It just cannot have a successful trading, but it can also list the whole SOA account, right? So it needs to do some extension work. Because this revision ID, without this revision ID, that will cause some risks for buyers. Because if the buyers is starting to buy this SOA, but with the evaluation of this SOA in some signature history, and during the process of buying, the original seller signed another transaction. This transaction, let's say, transfer the most of the tokens to a third account, then the buyer will suffer a loss. But with this revision ID, the smart contract can verify the SOA is in the correct state with the buyer, with the what the buyer sees source. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that demo. If we don't have any more questions, I suppose we'll move on.
Yeah, just one quick one. Thanks, Marco, for the demo. Super cool. Yeah, you guys are trying. There's a few teams trying to do similar things with this tradable accounts. Would be great if we can kind of collaborate on having, like, at least like a standard we can agree on, so that as some of these marketplaces pop up, there's a lot of reusability. I think a lot of people have different thoughts. I don't know if there's any way to like see your code somewhere, if you guys have it kind of written up, basically like that, the NFT standard plus like the additional features you need. And then we can probably take it upon ourselves to kind of just create, maybe it's an NEP, we'll figure out the right process, but so we can kind of collaborate towards some composability.
And another point of collaboration is definitely we need to work out how to prove that keys are safe for certain situations. So like come up with a protocol collectively, which is either they've already always existed in a smart contract that enforces certain rules to prevent sort of this booby trapping, or that we can have the history on chain and traverse it and make sure no bad signatures have been created. So it's definitely something we need to think of from a sort of NEP perspective.
I know that Jacob has been working on NFT chain keys, I think they're called. I suppose that would be quite similar. I wonder how dissimilar the standards you've been using are. Jacob modifies the NFT.
Yeah, I see. I also noticed that there is a chain NFT like standards in ongoing, and I noticed that they using another feature like approve the third party to operate the account. It's a slightly different with what we want to bring. What we want to deliver. We want to deliver a trading process of this account. So it's not an important point to let third party to operate this account in terms of the SOA platform, because in our consideration, it will be the responsibility of the precept, like some account abstraction to do that. So we focused on how we can safely transfer between accounts this SOA. So we keep the whole NFT standards only one extension to secure the transfer.
Yeah, if you had that written up, that would be awesome. And then I think we can, yeah, basically circulate this with a couple of other teams working on similar things and just see where we can find common ground. But we can take that on. So if you just have kind of what you're doing and some of the requirements, then we can leverage that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, of course.
Wonderful. Right, I will quickly share then what. Let me share the right screen. I'll quickly share what Matt has been working on. So hopefully, yeah, I think you can see my screen. So he's been created this library, the ChainSig library, as you can see. And basically, this is just a repo for creating an interface of how to interact with these different chains easily, because I'm sure you've all seen the near-multichain repo, and there's like a whole file in there just for interacting with Ethereum, right? So the idea of this library is that you have this standard interface for interacting with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, well, in the future, and whatever chain really. So you just have, you could see here like a Bitcoin object, or you could have an Ethereum object, and there's standards for both non-smart contract chains like, well, Bitcoin, XRP, I think, and then you also have specific smart contract methods. And basically, yeah, you could see all the methods here. And basically, Matt would just like people to get some eyes on this and give feedback about the approach. And then, I mean, he's looking to implement a Ethereum example. I committed this one, actually. It's empty. So he's looking to do that. But I'm sure he's not going to be mad if you beat him to the punch and commit that or commit any other chains. So yeah, if you could all take a look at that when you have time, that would be amazing. And yeah, I'm sure you can add some chains that people have never heard of before. That'd be quite interesting. Any questions about that? I think that was pretty self-explanatory. So I'll move.
How are we naming the chains? Like, what's a convention?
Naming the chains.
Well, like, how
What do you mean by that?
Chain? Like, I want to sign for, Dogecoin. Like, what would be the convention?
Well, so I think you just create a new instance of an object, right? And it would be, I suppose you could call the object whatever you want. And then, well, here, so you import near, well, near's a bit different, but import like Bitcoin, Ethereum from this library. So I guess the naming convention is just a chain in lowercase. Is that what you're asking, or am I not sure?
Well, I mean, I think there's a difference between the chain technology versus the chain ID. And so, so ideally you want EVM, you want, Bitcoin, like ancestor, or whatever, Bitcoin inherited, right? And then you can pass a chain ID, which is like Base or Optimism or Dogecoin versus Litecoin, right? So like there's a difference between the technology and the actual chain ID.
Right. Yeah. Does anyone else have any ideas around that?
Yeah, this actually bleeds a bit. It's a good point, and it bleeds a bit into the. It's not exactly related, but similar to the kind of asset naming standard. So, hang on. This is what this was an initiative started by Wallet Connect, and they don't quite dive so deep on the canonicalization of the naming, but they do a little bit. So we could basically look to just follow this part. Like they have, I guess, how do they even do this? Somewhere in here they're deriving like the EIP that's used plus the chain ID for something like an EVM chain. For Cosmos, I think they just straight up went with Cosmos. So we'll have to look into that namespacing. But I think if we look at this and decide like this actually fit, oh yeah, and awesome, Mike posted there kind of the asset standard too. I think if we looked at here to this, just because it's rather than creating a new standard, and we at least have Wallet Connect, and I believe Gnosis Safe uses this too, or like an extension of it. It's like fairly similar. That could be a good path forward. So we can also talk to Matt about that too. I mean, I think, look, this is very much like an open for discussion question, but it's a great point. I think if we can try to adhere to this naming standard, that could be some low hanging fruit just to like not create a net new standard.
I mean, this standard is okay for developers, but I don't know if, EIP 119 colon, 1736, right, is as good as just base.
Yeah, I mean, the other way we could do it is just lowercase name of the. We probably just need to write it up like.
Well, we need a table that says like base is this chain ID, just chain ID, right? So,
all right.
Which is a standard. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just pick the top 100 chains and just write it up and do that. And then, I mean, honestly, it should just be on whoever is submitting the thing. But yeah, I think we can cover all the existing chains, and then it'll be, hopefully like fairly obvious. I'll create that as an issue in this thing.
Mike, did you have all these links prepared, or are you just typing them up so quick?
I start typing in my URL and it autocompletes because I have these like super in history.
Nice. I suppose it would be a good idea to open up a discussion somewhere around this.
Yeah, I'm going to create an issue on the repo right now.
Awesome.
Also, from a naming perspective, we have this like API versus SDK kind of convention. Should we like adhere to that? I mean, for the library itself, or like the lib is the right way. I don't have an opinion. I'm just curious.
The lib doesn't contain any code yet, like the Bitcoin.js is also blank. So I think this is more of a maybe GitHub discussion, maybe.
Well, the idea is to commit to this, but I think Matt would like some more general feedback of the way he's going about it, rather than maybe implementing anything right now. So I suppose discussing issues on that repo. I think there's still a lot undecided, but yeah, API, library, either or really.
Also, Owen, if it's cool, I could probably share a little update that may be relevant immediately for like 5 minutes, not too long.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Do you have anything to share screen or?
Actually, it'd probably be easier just to share the full screen real quick.
Let me take mine down.
So I just found this yesterday. So basically, this has been super ongoing. Thanks for everyone for the patience on this. So this is what I'm working on. It's actually Boss has a bunch of Bitcoin stuff in it now. It's a fork of it, and so this is what it looks like when it's working. And then on here on the right, this is where I am now, and this is sort of critical because the near multi-chain example, I think, is currently doing the cross contract calls for sign using the function call access key and local storage. And so that's able to do like async, right? But we're going to be requiring the Yocto near, just like we did with fungible and non-fungible tokens. And so a lot of users will be redirected to a wallet, and then you can't just sort of do it asynchronously. And so what you need to do is you need to like get redirected to the wallet and then come back and then be able to grab the payload and signature and like put it back into the partially signed Bitcoin transaction. So that's kind of like where we're at here. And I just found this thing. I did a whole bunch of digging yesterday. It turns out that I'm using BIP 174, which is the partially signed Bitcoin transaction library, and then Bitcoin JS lib, which is like the main Bitcoin library. And both of those are basically requiring that we have DER signature. And this is different than what we're doing in near multi-chain. In near multi-chain, we are reconstructing the signature by like basically concatenating them. But I just found out yesterday that like, unless we want to like fork the Bitcoin library, which is a bad idea, we can, what the heck? We can use dir or BIP 66, which is dir signature encoding. So the good news is this package exists to get the dir signature so that we don't throw the error, and then we can use like the correct Bitcoin libraries. And luckily, it also uses the RNS stuff. So this is going to output a different signature format that like starts with like 0x30 or something that's expected by these libraries. So this is the first time that I've seen this where like I'm really glad that the MPC is returning like just the RNS values, because like you can concatenate them or you can do different stuff depending on the network. So I kind of wanted to flag this because I was like, what the heck? I thought you could just like concatenate these guys, but that is not the case. So something to kind of like look out for. Gosh, I hope I'll be done by like Monday.
Good stuff.
Are you planning to contribute that to near multi-chain?
Yeah, I mean this is like, so this is also built in Boss. So you can, you know how you can in like Eugene's VM, you can say like ether dot whatever. Now you can say Bitcoin dot and do all of this stuff. And then you're controlling your PSBT like locally on the component and stuff. So that logic can definitely get moved into near multi-chain. It looks like near multi-chain is also not attaching the one Yocto near yet. So I think that the example is probably broken. But after that, or you know, then we can kind of deal with that.
Yeah, I think I'm working on that example next week, so I'll make that fix, I suppose. So yeah, awesome work. Right, I think we can branch into some other discussion, but if anyone, I just suggested these topics, so if there's any other topic that's of more interest, please go ahead and suggest. So
maybe just to bring up, yeah, like I mean, there's a discussion happening about so-called Omnitoken. So I don't know if it's worth just briefly getting everyone's opinion as well as just so everybody knows it's happening. But broadly speaking, there's an interesting new meta here around like as everybody launches their assets, you know, they kind of want to be everywhere and access all liquidity. And on one side with chain signatures and kind of chain abstraction in general, we are offering that because it means that anyone, anywhere through chain signatures can access everything. But that's not really how it works just yet. And it's going to be probably a while until everyone gets on a chain abstraction chain. So there's another option, which is just say, well, actually, how about we launch a token and it's available on every chain, right? So we deploy ERC20, SPL, BRC20, or whatever else. You know, we plug it into Osmosis, on Tendermint, etc. So like you have one supply, one token, one address on EVMs, and it's kind of like available everywhere. And it doesn't matter where you kind of accessing it or holding it. It's like a single supply. And there's a standard around sending actually this token between chains. So like this using the same address that we just discussed, like base colon, like illblackdragon.eth or near colon root.near or sol colon illblackdragon.sol, which I should check if I have. So pretty much allowing to really kind of move this asset between. Now, chain signatures obviously allow to push stuff from near to everywhere else. We still need a way to kind of pull the information back, right, to move it back. But and this is where we can use pretty much any bridge that's available, or Oracle, or anything else. Yeah, exactly. And so again, the asset issuer can pretty much select what they want to use. There can be like a configuration there. Anyway, so that's kind of the broad idea. I've been discussing this, Kendall, but there's definitely a lot of interest from projects who are even ones launching layer 2s, because like they don't want to be limited by whatever the stack offers, and kind of they do want to be everywhere.
You mentioned the standard. Do you have like a link for that anywhere, or how can we find it?
So I'm working on a write-up for this. I do have something that I think I might just present briefly rather than share it yet, because it needs to be cleaned up. It's basically like a list of messy notes, but to give you guys an idea of kind of the direction we're going in, I'll actually just open up access to this pretty shortly, so that everyone can kind of contribute to it. If you could just let me share my screen real quick. Oh, and that'd be awesome. Thanks, man. All right. So yeah, forgive the terrible formatting here. Again, just like mainly thinking through the workflow. The most important stuff here, and I'll break this out into like assumptions and kind of things like that, but is this idea that basically potentially even on like a per chain basis, and by again, this is a suggestion, you can basically choose a sort of message passing layer, which could also be a light client that can basically be the sort of the reading of state rather than the writing of state. And I think there's a couple of areas that'll be important. So initially it's like, yeah, you instantiate the token on near, you include all the metadata, balances, things like that. The way I'm thinking of it is like basically the token creator could have the authority to determine the new chain, at least initially, for a couple of reasons. I think the simple case here is something like the EVM, because you can actually have like a assuming complete EVM compatibility, you can kind of deploy a similar or even the exact same contract to each of these chains. So it needs to be like both mintable and burnable on that given chain. You'd want to make sure that the mint authority is given just to the chain signature account, basically the account on that destination chain that'll be derived from basically the token contract on near. And then you want to have like, some type of like burn function, basically when people want to like take their token back from that destination chain and reclaim it on near. And this is where you need the message passing. Even thinking through the mint, I think we likely need the message passing primarily to confirm that the mint was actually successful. You want to avoid a scenario where a user would try to mint, and like they generate the mint function, their tokens are locked or burned. That's another decision to be made on sort of the near side. If like that mint transaction never actually lands on that chain, either with some kind of timeout, or this is again like a decision that has to be made, then you'd want to be, and maybe this is more implementation even than standard, you'd want to basically, be able to let them do that. So have some kind of like success message. And then, still working through like what the burn looks like. So super, super messy and raw, which is why I've not shared it yet. We're kind of just working on this internally at Proximity to get a first draft. And this marries both standards and implementation, which is obviously not a good idea, but kind of just wanted to like really work through what this actually looks like in practice. And then we can work backwards to something that's more of like a standard, and also think of like reference implementations. But that's the idea is like try to have this pretty abstracted, like be very agnostic to new chains that are added, because obviously like there's a lot of, this enables ideally flexibility for a lot of different types of chains, even Bitcoin, obviously Solana will be a key one. And, potentially like chains with new VMs that aren't even, thought of yet, or like don't exist yet. And then the other idea is trying to abstract away this message passing, or like, basically allow teams to choose message passing layers. Whether or not it'll be on a per token basis is still something that has to be kind of figured out, but potentially that would be ideal. And then the real gold standard would be if they can actually swap out message passing standards. And again, that's going to require a lot of like work. First version might not even do that. It might be like, hey, you just have to pick one and stick with it. and then we can kind of look into how we abstract away and build up to that. But anyway, that's sort of the vision. Like any sort of chain, mint and burn, abstracted away message passing layers, allow teams to kind of effectively pick their own security assumptions. So I've related to that, and oh yes, Mike, good point there. So the Aurora team has been working on a Bitcoin Lite client. It's like nearing a kind of a first version, which is awesome. Some more to come on that as they get that into a good state and audits and things like that happen. So just on that Omnichain, like this kind of touches on those two topics. I think one is basically how you read state. I mean, certainly the way we've been thinking of it is like it's kind of a decision we should leave up to developers. Like fortunately, Near has a few different ways to read state. Wormhole is like probably the most broad in the sense that you have access to a lot of chains. You could also tap into layer 0. You have to go through Aurora with that, which does add some complexity, but it is a possibility. And then we have the Ethereum Lite client for Rainbow Bridge, and now this Bitcoin Lite client. So I think that the vision right now is looking like there's going to be a mix of options, and it's going to be up to developers to choose what they want to do. But I mean, this is also where if anyone has kind of preferred paths or like things they like, suggestions or like sort of ways to read they would like to see us explore, please do let us know. That is going to be important.
Cool. Yeah, I threw up a discussion topic on this because I'm wondering like whether it should be up to the developer really, or there should be standards for these message passing, whether that be through like Lite client or Wormhole. Yeah, I see we're coming up on the hour, so if anyone has any burning things they want to say, please go ahead, or if not, we can say goodbyes.
Is
Okay.
anyone hoarding testnet Bitcoin? It's very hard to find.
Yeah, please give me some.
Good way to end.
Okay, I think we can end there. Thanks a lot for coming. Great to see you all again. And let's keep the discussion going. I know you've opened that issue, right, Kendall? Maybe we can start there.
Yeah, I opened the on the thing.
Was that another miss handle? Okay, all right. Thanks everyone. See you around.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.